In recent news, there was a story about a Twitch streamer who spent, I think it was $16,000 on Diablo Immortal just to get a 5-star gem. And he did this to give a big ol' FU to Blizzard because after he got the 5-star gem, he uninstalled the game. And I think he destroyed the 5-star gem, which is, I don't think you're actually sending a message. And look at that. Better luck than he had. $6,000 I would have had to spend in this Rift simulator that fans made. It's actually kind of hilarious. The odds, which are going crazy, but yes, it would have cost me $6,000 to get a 5-star legendary gem. And remember, that is just on one of the gear items in this game. If you want to get all of your gear to have that, well, if it's the same luck, it would be about $30,000. And some have had better, some have had worse luck. But seriously though, streamers, I think we can do better. We don't need to spend $16,000 to send a message. And for what it's worth, I did test this simulator out further, and it looks like for 6 5-star legendary gems, it would have cost me around $37,000. I think that money could be spent on much better things like, you know, a mortgage for a house or a new car, not a crappy little pay-to-win mobile game. But later in this video, we will be discussing much more with Blizzard. But first, I want to start off with some of the recent gaming news. We had some gameplay of Evil West revealed, and this looks like a mashup of God of War meets Red Dead meets Doom, and it looks kind of fantastic. Obviously, I'm not expecting this to be Game of the Year quality, but it looks like a really fun time. Coming from Polish developer Flying Wild Hog, the devs behind the Shadow Warrior franchise, and honestly, I'm excited. It's supposed to be coming out in September, and yeah, this will be a day one purchase for myself just because it has everything I'm kind of looking for in a game. Now, in regards to what will likely be Game of the Year 2022, Elden Ring, we got a new interview from game director and From Software's Hidetaka Miyazaki, and he revealed that an unannounced project from the studio is in the final stages of development. There's a lot of speculation on what this may be. Interestingly, From Software recently posted a recruitment page. One of the franchises that was spotted on that recruitment page was for Armored Core, the long-running, kind of dormant franchise, and a lot of people have been speculating that this franchise could be coming back, and this may be that. There's also been some speculation that this could also be a VR title. It's unclear at the moment, but Elden Ring has kind of skyrocketed From Software's reputation to the top of this industry. A spot that once you could say Blizzard, Rockstar, Bethesda, CDPR, so on and so forth, that is now owned by From Software. And there's going to be a lot of eyes on everything that From does here on out. Now, it was also revealed by Miyazaki that he does intend to continue to focus on directing games and is already working on his next one. What that will be, again, too early to say. And he did reveal that there's going to be more content and updates coming for Elden Ring. I know a lot of people are excited for DLC. Hopefully that is something that we see revealed soon. But indeed, a lot more stuff coming from Software in the near future, which should make a lot of people, including myself, excited. Let's just hope one of those projects eventually is a Bloodborne remaster. Now, the one title that may take on Elden Ring for that Game of the Year crown is God of War Ragnarok, and we've just gotten even more indication that a big reveal is coming, with potentially an announcement of a launch coming this November. Earlier on in this month, Bloomberg's Jason Schreier reported, citing Sony Santa Monica sources, that a reveal would be happening towards the end of June, and now an anonymous leaker who has leaked quite a few different things over the course of this last month, including the fact that Hollow Knight Silksong was going to be coming to Game Pass Day 1, the announcement of the Persona Xbox Collection, the release date for the Last of Us remake, and a few other things. Well, they have now revealed that God of War Ragnarok should be having some sort of reveal on June 30th, which lines up with Thursday, so that probably means early on next week, maybe Monday or Tuesday, we should be seeing an announcement from Sony announcing a new state of play, potentially as an exclusive just for God of War Ragnarok, maybe showing off some new gameplay, maybe hopefully like a little gameplay demonstration, and then of course that release date, which right now is speculated again to be sometime in November. I know a lot of people have been joking about it, but hey, November 11th is open now, with Starfield being moved to 2023. In other news, Ubisoft, who decided not to have a summer showcase this summer, recently revealed that there would be a new Assassin's Creed game announced this September. That Assassin's Creed game is rumored to be the codenamed Assassin's Creed Rift, which is reportedly a smaller game that could act as a useful stopgap for the series by offering up a more focused version of these sprawling RPGs of recent years. So pretty much more like the older Assassin's Creeds and less like the Witcher 3 imposters that have released the last couple of years, which have sold quite well. In recent months, this new Assassin's Creed game Rift has suffered a few different leaks, including the fact that the main protagonist of this game will be AC Valhalla's Basim, and there has been some rumors that this could be taking place in Baghdad, with a major focus again on parkour mechanics, which would be a return to what this franchise used to be known for. Now, another Ubisoft game that has suffered many different leaks is Skull and Bones, the most recent coming from Tom Henderson, who reports that Skull and Bones will be re-revealed next month. So what do we expect from this reveal? I honestly have no idea. Skull and Bones is a game that was revealed 5 years ago, and supposedly it looks nothing like what it did back then. It has been restarted multiple times. It has had a disastrous troubled development with numerous lead developers leaving. It's just been quite a mess, and I'm honestly surprised it's still alive. But yeah, it is reported that there's going to be more Sea of Thieves elements within Skull and Bones now. What does that mean? I don't know. Skull and Bones is a game that just never really had quite nailed down its identity. It originally wanted to use those Assassin's Creed Black Flag ship mechanics to make an actual full game without the Assassin's Creed name attached to it. This project never made any sense to me, and it never looked very impressive, which is probably why it's been delayed so many times. If it actually does release and release to good reviews, I would honestly be shocked at this point. Now, speaking of sinking ships, we had EA DICE's new GM, Rebecca Kutaz, talking to GamesIndustry.biz about the future of Battlefield 2042. And this interview definitely reads as a, hey, we're not giving up on this game, even though it definitely appears like we are. So in this interview, she says things are better now at EA DICE. The launch of Battlefield 2042 was not as expected. Our players and community were disappointed, but as was our development team. We have focused on the health of the game, and so bug after bug, patch after patch, we're fixing and improving it. In each patch, we have a little win, and that is important for our team because they were disappointed. We're celebrating 30 years as a studio, but also 20 years on Battlefield, and we have players who have been with us for 20 years, and to disappoint them, it's really hard on us. And she would continue later on saying, no, we couldn't do that to our players by just moving on and giving up on Battlefield 2042, and we couldn't do that to ourselves. I don't want to use the word revenge because it's too strong in English, but you know, we cannot leave it like that. As I said, we owe it to our players. Now, here's the issue I have with remarks like this, and it's the fact that EA DICE is acting like Battlefield 2042 is an isolated incident, when in reality, this has been the MO of this studio for the last half decade. Battlefront 1, Battlefront 2, Battlefield 5, and now Battlefield 2042 all suffered from similar issues. It was a lot of unpolished, a lot of unfinished releases at launch, and then EA DICE having to spend months upon months trying to fix their mistakes. And that's not to mention the fact that EA DICE has not been listening to player feedback and criticism. They've just pretty much ignored it, essentially putting their thumbs in their ears. So look, I am honestly tired of the talk from EA DICE. I want to see some actual action. They mentioned in this interview wanting to be a powerhouse of FPSs again. Well, you lost that battle years ago to Call of Duty, and just never were able to adapt and evolve, which honestly, I'm still astonished that Call of Duty has had so much success, but I think that's just due to the fact that EA has been so incompetent with their franchise. Now, later in this interview, this EA DICE general manager was asked if projects like Mirror's Edge were currently off the table as they are becoming more committed to their live services, and she said, totally. We are only focusing on Battlefield 2042. There's no time for anything else, and this is what we want to do. I don't know, after what I've seen the last couple of years, maybe you should be trying some other smaller projects like Mirror's Edge. In 3 years, we want to be the first-person shooter powerhouse, this is what I mentioned, that DICE deserves to be, and that is what we're going for. Maybe EA DICE really picks up the pace in the next coming months, but all I'm going to say is it's been like 7 or 8 months since the game launched, and there's been one new map released. The player base has come back a little bit. It's still not as big as Battlefield 5 right now, which is kind of quite telling, but hey, maybe there is going to be a lot more future content. I just fear in the next year or two, if this player base continues to dwindle down, that EA DICE will just move on to the next Battlefield experience, and we'll be doing this once again in what, 2024? Maybe? It is worth noting the timing of this interview. In a recent video, we discussed how there was a report coming from VentureBeat that Battlefield 2042's development team was down to a skeleton crew, and at the time EA DICE did refute that, and now we have this interview. It's just very, very interesting. I don't trust EA DICE, and we'll see if there is going to be like maybe the next season 4 or 5 maps that'll show that maybe they are committed, but I'm not buying it right now. CD Projekt Red is still trying to figure out their future. They're also trying to figure out the future of Cyberpunk 2077. As we discussed recently, the game's one expansion was leaked, a lot of the major story details within it, and then free DLC that is still kind of MIA. A lot of it has not been released yet, and there's a lot of uncertainty with the future of this game. But I do have to say, the legacy of Cyberpunk 2077 is pretty much set in stone. It's one that a lot of developers have been talking about privately, and that is the need to not release a highly anticipated game in a disastrous state, whether that be because it's unpolished or unfinished or both. Obviously, Cyberpunk 2077 is not the first or last game to release in a buggy state and also missing many core features that you would expect from a game that's marketed as the next generation of gaming, but I think you could argue that it's the biggest example of a game really dropping the ball. Now, the thing is, over the course of the last couple of months, we've been hearing some very interesting conversations that are happening behind the scenes. Bloomberg's Jason Schreier reported that one of the reasons why Starfield was delayed was because they looked at Cyberpunk. The developers specifically said they didn't want to have a Cyberpunk on their hands. And now we have this GamesIndustry.biz article in which we again hear the same thing from another developer. We took one look at what happened to Cyberpunk 2077 and thought, yep, we're delaying this, says a US game director from one of the world's biggest game franchises. CD Projekt is one of the most respected game studios in the world. Well, they were, and they released a game so broken that Sony pulled it from their own digital store. I really do think that part right there is what scares so many developers and publishers. That's unprecedented. That's humiliating. We knew our game wasn't in the best shape. Maybe we could patch it up with a day one update, but we saw Cyberpunk and decided it was not worth the risk. I suspect that was a wake-up call across the industry. I'll say that I agree with that partially. I think across this industry, maybe in the single-player games regard, sure, but in the live service department, that's a different story, as Call of Duty Vanguard and Battlefield 2042 are perfect examples of those games are going to come out in the holiday season, no matter the quality, no matter how messy it is. So indeed, Cyberpunk 2077 without a doubt has certainly made developers and publishers at least a bit more nervous, maybe pausing a little bit more with launching a game that isn't quite ready. But I just question how profound of an impact it has had. Like, just because this great example of a disaster exists doesn't mean all of these greedy publishers are going to necessarily listen to logic, as we've seen numerous times in the past. Because like I said before, Cyberpunk is not the first or last game to launch buggy, broken, or incomplete. At least for the next year or so, until the Microsoft deal is complete, Activision Blizzard CEO Bobby Kotick will remain, as his fellow shareholders, his fellow rotten to the core executives all voted him back on for another year on the board of directors. No surprise there, really. I think a lot of people are expecting way too much from those executives, as I highly doubt they cared about any of the allegations that came out over the course of the last year or so. But in other related news, it was revealed by Tony Hawk himself that Activision scrapped a 3+4 remake following Vicarious Visions merger. As soon as that thing happened, I said on Twitter at the time that they were pretty much done with projects and they were pretty much just going to be assisting Blizzard with all of their IP, and that's what happened. Tony Hawk said in an interview that was the plan, even up until the release date of 1 and 2. We were doing 3 and 4, and then Vicarious got kind of absorbed, then they were looking for other developers, and then it was over. This is what Activision Blizzard does. They kill studios just like Electronic Arts. I really hope that Microsoft can resurrect some of this stuff and allow a lot of these Activision studios and Blizzard studios to go do some other things and return to these beloved franchises. But for now, the damage has been done, and it's just really disappointing because that 1+2 remake was really well received, and a lot of people wanted to see this continue, and it's just unfortunate to find out that it was going to happen. But yeah, Vicarious Visions just is no more pretty much. $24 million. That is the total that Blizzard's Diablo Immortal made in its first 2 weeks. Now, while that may sound like a significant number, that actually isn't very impressive, as many of the top mobile games make much more than that. And what do I mean by much more than that? Well, it's been said that games like Honor of Kings and PUBG Mobile probably within that same span of time made around $100 million. And the big reason why is because China. That is the market that all of these developers want in on, and that is the primary drive for why a game like Diablo Immortal happened in the first place. Bad news for Blizzard and NetEase though, because it looks like Diablo Immortal is not going to be releasing in the mainland of China anytime soon, as the release has been indefinitely delayed and there is a lot of rumors running wild on the internet for what exactly happened. But what is clear is that Blizzard and NetEase are not happy, and this is a huge disaster for them. Specifically for NetEase, when this news was made official, the company's shares took a major plunge, dropping about 11% in Hong Kong. This is more specific to NetEase, the senior analyst said. Maybe the market is worried that this is a larger issue with the regulators. Some Diablo contributions should already be penciled into the second half for consensus. In the worst case scenario, Diablo Immortal could run into a so-called Black Swan event, similar to what happened with Tencent's DNF Mobile. Morgan Stanley analyst wrote, originally slated for an August 2020 release, that game has never rolled out in China after Tencent initially said that it needed to upgrade its anti-addiction system, reports Bloomberg. For what it's worth, the official explanation that Blizzard and NetEase are going with is that the delay is due to the development team making some adjustments, including support for a wider range of devices and network and performance optimizations. And I don't think many people entirely believe that explanation at all. The reason why is because of some events that happened on Chinese social media, specifically Weibo, in which the Diablo Immortal account got banned from posting for violating relevant laws and regulation. So what did they exactly do? Well, it appears they criticized the Chinese president, the one thing that you're not supposed to do on an official Chinese social media account for Diablo Immortal. There's a screenshot that's circulating around, and right now there's some mixed translations of it, but it comes from the official Blizzard account, and it says, "Why hasn't the bear stepped down?" or "What do you think about the bear?" And the bear is in reference to Winnie the Pooh, and Winnie the Pooh is commonly used by people to criticize President Xi Jinping. Big no-no in China, although I will say a big shout out to the Mad Lad community manager that did that. You probably got fired for this, and I do kind of fear for your safety depending on where you live, but yeah, this is enough to get your game at least delayed in China, as their Weibo account has had a temporary hold on it, and immediately after this is when NetEase pulled the release date from the Diablo Immortal website, and then obviously the indefinite delay announcement came soon afterwards. Just a quick update, but right now there is speculation that Diablo Immortal may have actually been temporarily banned in China for the next couple of years. This comes via Chinese Diablo fans. I guess these are discussions that are happening in China right now in the Diablo community. Rumor says NetEase will not get any license for game published in the following 3 whole years just because of this controversy. And then they indicate that the actual Blizzard employee who did this, who said the actual translation was, "Why isn't the bear stepping down?" This was a Blizzard employee from the United States, not China. So yeah, this is a disaster, a financial disaster for Blizzard, and this could have implications for Diablo 4, Overwatch 2, World of Warcraft, Dragonflight, and might even force Blizzard to change who they're cooperating with in China's mainland. Like I said, this is an absolute worst case scenario for them, and it's all because of one Blizzard employee who took to social media to make a comment about the Chinese government. Just honestly crazy. One remark that could cost this company billions of dollars. Now, in regards to Diablo Immortal the game and the latest things that have been happening within it, well, we have Reddit threads like this one going viral, in which a user used 600 million World of Warcraft gold to purchase $50,000 worth of World of Warcraft tokens for Diablo Immortal purchases. So what did that result in? Well, he gained 6,497 total runes currently in his bag. He probably used more. That's 2,165 Elder Rifts that he ran since launch, which is about $48,000 worth. That's 3,243 World of Warcraft tokens, and his character obviously is all maxed out. I think his resonance is at like 7,000, with his equipment base attributes increased by 350%. Comparison's sake, myself, I'm like Paragon 25 now. I'm not spending that type of money, and I think I have maybe a 20% increase in my base attributes for my equipment, and my resonance is at a total of like maybe 400. This kind of just shows the disparity between pay-to-win players and free-to-play players. The pay-to-win people are just in a whole different league. So, in terms of Blizzard's response to the many criticisms that they continue to garner from Diablo Immortal's pay-to-win state, well, it's pretty much nothing. But we continue to see gems like this from earlier on this month, in which a user says, "I really don't get the people who say it's pay-to-win. From what I've seen from playing, you gotta be really bad or haven't played it at all in order to even be pay-to-win. Oh no, you please go play some PvP and watch a guy go on a 50 kill streak against you." And then it appears the official Diablo account responded. It's unclear if it was to this specific comment, but they did comment on the pay-to-win aspect of it. They said, "Spoken like a champion, and it is exactly as you said. Progression is consistent with great, and if one decided to pay, should be just to go that little bit faster than the rest of us," which is just a ridiculous statement to say, and I'm not sure if English is their first language, as it's a little bit of a mess here, but they clearly are trying to defend the pay-to-win aspect again. It seems like that was Blizzard's strategy, and then it was just, let's go totally silent. They have been talking still about Diablo 4, which is kind of hilarious. They're still talking about the monetization. The Diablo community manager saying on Reddit that they're going to discuss in greater detail sometime soon how the game isn't pay to win like Diablo Immortal is. In terms of communication with Diablo Immortal, Blizzard has essentially just shut down it completely. They'll respond here and there to questions about patches or updates like this, but any actual serious questions about the monetization, I'm guessing inside the studio they made a decision, we're just done talking about it completely because there's nothing productive that's going to come from those conversations, and they probably are right because they're just going to continue to get blasted for this. And there's a reason why Diablo 4, Overwatch 2, and anything else Blizzard does from here on out are going to face a lot of criticism in terms of monetization. And honestly, all I'm going to say is that they have certainly earned that distrust. Now, to our final story of the day, I just had to talk about Bungie's lawsuit against a Destiny YouTuber. It's one of the biggest examples of fuck around and find out, or play stupid games, win stupid prizes. So this entire really dumb ordeal boils down to a Destiny YouTuber uploading Bungie's music on their YouTube channel and then getting a bunch of copyright strikes for that because there was no transformative value or anything to it. They just straight up re-uploaded Bungie's material, and companies have the right to take that down, as that is breaking copyright law. So what did this Destiny YouTuber do in retaliation? Well, he looked at the email addresses of Bungie's legal team, used them, and then made fake accounts, and then started copyright striking the rest of the Destiny community. The logic here wasn't necessarily to hurt these creators, he just wanted to get them all pissed off so they would direct all of that anger at Bungie, thinking it was them. But in reality, it was this Destiny YouTuber. What's even more bizarre about this is the fact that this Destiny YouTuber was in Discord and on Twitter sending, "Wow, I can't believe this is happening. It's so crazy. Why would Bungie do this?" And then when it was found out that it wasn't actually Bungie, he continued the charade telling his friends, "Wow, I don't know why anybody would do this." But in reality, it was him the whole time. And now he faces a $7.7 million lawsuit from Bungie, who at the time when all of this happened, I believe in March, said that they were committed to going after whoever was responsible for damaging their image and then obviously copyright striking a ton of other creators. Now, furthermore, within this lawsuit, it is alleged that this YouTuber tried to use the confusion that he created by, filing all of these false DMC notices posing as Bungie. He tried to then use counter notification for his own copyright strikes that he actually received by Bungie. I know this may be a little bit confusing to those who may not upload videos on YouTube, but when you get a copyright strike, there's a certain amount of days that you can file a counter notification because some of these companies, they falsely copyright strike, and a lot of us have to fight that. But this creator, he decided to wait until he filed all of those false DMCA takedowns, and I guess he thought the confusion would allow him to get away with it and get his channel back. It really is just stupid thinking. Like, I don't get why they thought that this was actually going to work. It just shows pure ignorance with how YouTube works and the copyright stuff in general, and Bungie is now making an example out of them, and I really don't feel sorry for them. The only thing that makes me curious about this is it doesn't sound like actions of an adult. Like, I don't know his actual age, I don't see it mentioned here, but if this is somebody over the age of 18, I'd honestly be surprised. But it does show the loopholes in YouTube's system, and it shows how this can easily be manipulated. Regardless, this is a pretty much open and shut case. Like, this guy even uploaded a manifesto on Reddit of pretty much everything that he did. He tried deleting it, but obviously that stuff's still stored on there. But anyway, the best advice I can give to this creator is better lawyer up very, very soon, because this is yikes. Now, this is not the only action that Bungie has made recently in the legal sphere, because they also filed a lawsuit and ended up settling with a Destiny 2 cheat company. And that cheat company is being forced to pay $13.5 million in damages. They settled with Bungie, and hey, I'm honestly all for Bungie making an example out of these troublemakers. It sends a very strong message of don't be a total piece of shit. Anywho, much is happening in this gaming industry. We talked about a lot of it. Hopefully we have a God of War Ragnarok reveal coming very, very soon. We have Square Enix showing their commitment to NFTs. They want to develop story-focused NFTs, but doesn't plan to make Final Fantasy NFT games soon. I don't even know how to respond to something like that. Anyway, what did you make of the topics that we did discuss today? Let me know down in the comment section below, but thank you for watching. Make sure to leave a like if you did enjoy this video or if you found any informative value, and make sure to follow my other social media accounts for updates on new videos. Links are always down in the description below. I'm most active on Twitter, giving opinions on news that I do not always get into video form, so do make sure to follow me over there. Also check out my Discord for all sorts of discussion on games. And again, thank you for joining. Consider subscribing for more videos like this, and I'll see you later.